Hello, and welcome to the second free online event for Ecofluency's Baobab fundraising campaign. My name is Saskia, and I'm the founder of Ecofluency. My work with Ecofluency is teaching and consulting in nature communication, which is the ability that all humans have not only to connect, but to communicate with nature using a wider range of senses and awareness, which means we can dialogue. It's two-way conversation. I shared more about nature communication in the first call of the campaign in January, and you can also find out more about that on ecofluency.org. But the reason I share this is because this campaign has been created in response to a request from the Baobab trees. This is co-created with the Baobab trees. This is not just my idea. And we can co-create with the more than human parts of nature by bringing in the voice of nature as a stakeholder in any decision-making process. This is something that Indigenous people have been doing for millennia, to not just grow food, but to co-create whole food landscapes in harmony with nature, to support all life forms and revitalize the resources that nourish the whole ecosystem. So in November last year, together with a bunch of other nature communicators, I tuned in with the land and the trees who are currently threatened by a mining mega development in northern Limpopo in South Africa within a UNESCO protected Venda biosphere reserve, within the reserve. The purpose for tuning in with the trees was to ask what I could do appropriately to support the nature there. And the response that I got was quite surprising, which was that the Baobab trees wanted me very strongly and very clearly, they gave me this message, to bring my own voice to the issue and to raise funding for All Rise. All Rise is a non-profit law clinic in South Africa whose focus is on environmental and climate justice, and they are currently the only legal voice defending the lives of these trees, but also the lives and the livelihoods of the people that live in northern Limpopo. And there are other projects as well, but this campaign focuses on the Baobab trees for now. One of the ways that All Rise are protecting the trees is by investigating the permits that have been applied for to rip out the protected trees and destroy entire indigenous forests. Without the permits, this mega development can't really go forward. So it's actually a really crucial part for legally stopping this project from causing so much unnecessary destruction. So the aim of the Baobab campaign is to help protect the lives and the land of the tens of thousands of ancient and protected Baobab trees, as well as the hundreds of thousands of other trees, as well as to present alternatives for this mining development that would be far more aligned with the well-being and the wealth of the people in Limpopo, as well as in the rest of South Africa and the rest of nature. But there's also another aim, and that is to help more people connect more deeply and to communicate with these trees and with the rest of nature in what Andrew Harvey calls sacred activism, which is, and I quote, a transforming force of compassion in action that is born of a fusion of deep spiritual knowledge, courage, love, and passion with wise, radical action in the world. The large-scale practice of sacred activism can become an essential force for preserving the land and the planet and its inhabitants. I spoke more about sacred activism in the first call for this campaign in January, which includes a guided journey to meet the Baobab trees, and we had the founder of All Rise, Kirsten Ewens, or co-founder of All Rise, Kirsten Ewens, as guest speaker for that call, where she shared a bit about herself, why she does the work that she does to protect the environment, and she gave us a brief update on what's been happening with the investigation into the permits issued to destroy these indigenous trees. Today, I am deeply honored to have Vho-Mphatheleni Makaulule, or Mpate as she's sometimes nicknamed, as the guest speaker for this call. Mphatheleni is an environmental activist and defender of sacred sites, and she's a researcher in the transfer of indigenous knowledge for future generations. For more than 35 years, Mphatheleni has been working with the Venda elders, her libraries of knowledge as she calls them, to transfer indigenous knowledge to the younger generations, particularly the Makadzi, the women who hold a special role in the local communities. She is the founder and executive director of Dzomo la Mupo, previously the Mupo Foundation, where she facilitates Indigenous knowledge system interactions on issues of environmental injustices through collaboration with an organization called EarthLife Africa for the local Venda district and Eastern Cape communities. She has a BA education degree as well as a master's degree, and her master's degree is on African Studies from the University of Venda. She collaborates with community engagement programs at the University of Venda as well as the Ekurhuleni branch of UNISA, as well as EarthLife Africa and with international university students to create spaces of intergenerational learning and to develop academic research methods for collecting cultural data appropriately. Mphatheleni is a non-executive director of the Wildlaw Institute, where she represents the Indigenous voice on a mission for rights of nature. She's taught internationally and presented at various conferences around the world. She represents South Africa, and the Indigenous voices there at numerous political and ceremonial gatherings overseas, and she's won multiple local and international awards for her leadership and her activism work. But what's pertinent for this campaign is that in 2024, in a move that actually made TV news, Mphatheleni and EarthLife Africa withdrew their support for the Musina Makhado Special Economic Zone development because they realized that despite what has been promised, the development would not provide the promised economic benefits to the Venda people, but would rather ruin the lives and the livelihoods of Limpopo residents through irrevocable damage to the indigenous forests, air quality, water systems, wildlife habitats, heritage sites, and wider cultural landscape of the Venda people. So I'm very pleased that Mphatheleni has agreed to come on today and to share a little bit about the Venda mythology, and I've specifically asked her to share about the significance of the Baobab trees in the Venda cultural landscape, the spiritual, cultural significance, and of course the Baobab trees hold a very key economic significance, but today we're going to focus on cultural and spiritual significance, and also what the indigenous forests mean to the Venda people. And so Mphatheleni will share for a little while, we'll have some questions, and then we'll continue with the rest of the call. Thank you for being here, Mphatheleni, and greetings also to your ancestors and everybody else who is present here to help support this call and this campaign and the lives and the livelihoods of the Venda people and all of life in Limpopo, where you are. Welcome.
Greetings to everyone. We give thanks to get this time where we are gathering in the listening of the voice of our ancestors. I deeply, deeply, deeply trust and have a strong belief that this path we didn't choose ourselves. We were chosen beyond any consultation for anyone. We were chosen by the spirit of our ancestors. I will say the spirit of our ancestors because that's how the Venda people see and understand the way of life. Life is about the spirit, and there is a holistic flow of life. And the spirit of our ancestors, we call that Vadzim. They are the one whom understand more than what we can explain. How do they understand? Because we walk their footprint. We Venda people, the spirit of our ancestors, we believe they are in the forest. They are in the nature. They are in the natural sources of water. They are in the soil. They are in the open spaces. From my life, since I grew up in the family where the spirit of our ancestors was highly respected. From when the baby is born until all stages of growth, until die, and again when you are no more to be seen in the physical world. From the germinating plants which give us seed, that's why we do many ceremonies. And from the harmony in the land, we trust the forest habit the spirit of our ancestors. Venda is the home of the richest forest areas, dense forest, with many oldest trees that make that forest. From mountains up to the flat valleys, even along the rivers. Apart the big trees, many plants, animals, rocks, soil, everything which is there. Only the forest is the habitat of that. Venda is blessed with this plant which make a tree called mubuyu. In Venda we call it mubuyu, Baobab tree. And in Venda the Baobab are not scattered everywhere. There are special biodiversity areas where they are Baobab. Children of Venda, when they go to the place where there is Baobab, in simple understanding, they are seeing magic. They are seeing things which is not common to them. They are seeing things which is very, very different with the other things. It's a speciality for the children, youth, even elders, even oldest woman, oldest man. Others have never seen a baobab tree, but they have the connection with the baobab. The baobab, mubuyu. Other they say chibuyu. It's not just a tree to Bavenda people. The attention of baobab is coming now when we are hearing the threat that there are people who want to uproot the Baobab. That's how we are now paying so much attention. And the people, they don't understand how someone can uproot a Baobab. Because even the other trees is not allowed to chop it, to destroy it. But yes, we have the people in Venda, around Limpopo, in Venda districts, who are chopping many trees like Mopani tree. But we never thought that Baobabs will have that threat. Baobab Mubuyu is a very special tree. That's why we are not surprised when we see people from very far places, they come here saying, can I go and see a Baobab? We have to travel to see a Baobab. Baobab is very, in English, it's sacred, but in Venda, the muri wa badzimu is the tree of our ancestors. Spirit, not ancestor body or bones, the spirit. I want to show the people, if they travel from the place Ulukwane up to Messina, they will cross the tunnel. After crossing the tunnel, they will travel. Now it's easy to identify. On the road, there is a Baobab, big Baobab, which is like kneeling down or lying like this, but the other is branched. That is a very, very sacred Baobab. And I think that toll gate, they said Baobab toll gate. There is a big Baobab there which is lying. In Venda, that Baobab is a sacred Baobab of Makadzi. It's called Mubuyu wa Makadzi. It's not just a Baobab standing there. And if you stop there, you will see that the way this tree is getting old, it's not just growing tall like other Baobabs. It's like putting a hand down and have a big stem spreading down, even though it's growing. That is a Baobab which symbolizes the sacredness or holiness of a Baobab. And you look around, there are many trees, but you cannot just point there's Baobab there, but inside the forest there are Baobab. If after the tunnel, you turn and go to other side like this, you will be traveling along the village. On the mountains, there are Baobabs this side, hanging there on them, even on the rock. They are growing even where it is flat rock, big Baobabs. And they stay there because we respect them. They are the holy, sacred. You go to this other area, you will never see. You go around, we call it Jaini Mountains, Zoutpansbeek. You will not see the Baobab. You only see one Baobab in Vuani where I am. Then you go to Pastoyando on the road to Pafuri Gate. After you travel to the other dry area where even maize does not grow well, is the home of the peel millet, which is sacred. The sorghum, which is sacred, is the home of boabas, many boabas. That's why we take our children and youth to that area as a trip to see the boaba. There are many. But when you go there, you will find another huge tree called Big Baobab. You just wish. I listened to the elders, they said 36 strong men, they can stretch like this. Total of 36, they are the one who can cover the stem of that boaba. In the imagination of how big is that boaba. But that boaba, you go there, I will not get the details. It has sacredness, holiness. It connects with that other one where I said is the boaba of Makazini Messina. Because you go there, you will see, if you pay attention to listen to the spirit. But even if an elder explain to you the figures in that boaba, you will find the whole of many connection of the nature. Even the woman figures everything to the womb up to where there is the door of birth. You will see it in that boaba. You will even see where is the formation of that make the womb to get a seed to make a baby. All format of us human beings. Is this made by other people in the laboratory? Is this made by other people in the manufacturing? Is this made by other people who have all intelligent until the artificial intelligence and make thoughts? Baba is very sacred to Venda. We respect it and we don't talk about details of it, but we respect it. Baba gave us food. We have 4 special food which are food but medicine and well-being to build our bodies, our health, our bones, everything which makes us. And we have proverbs of this food. The leaves is also special vegetable. The seed is a very special medicine and not medicine to be labeled and put in the chemist. Elders know that when you are sick, this sickness, you go to the boaba and find something from the boaba, small. There are children, when they are born, they need that small medicine which comes from the Baobab. But it's not a knowledge which is spread around. It's an intergenerational learning where elders have that knowledge. Bwaba mubuyu is placed there. We respect it there. And in this forest, Baobab does not grow alone. There is the distance between a boaba to another. And it's not like this boaba is here, this boaba is 5 meters or 1 meter. There is a long distance from one boaba to another. Between one boaba to another, that distance, there is a lot of life which lives there. Animals, smallest insects, flying, big ones. But between the grass, the soil, which is like people will say is barren soil, does not have anything. But there is the importance of that distance between one boaba to another. when people say we are developing the special economic zone and they have their discussion, their design, their plan, and do not become scared of uprooting boabas. Because for our Venda, even one boaba, there's nobody who can chop a boaba. One boaba, one. You can't chop even one. But when we are hearing many boabas to be bulldozed, to be put upside down, where do we go? Before going to the ecological people who can understand what is the ecology in their own understanding, this is what we are sharing. Why do us Venda go? Because if nature Mupo is another thing which I can explain it further. Mupo place the boaba in their own place in Venda, not everywhere. And Mupo place even the boaba of Makadzi. But the special economic zone want to go there to make the smoke of their industries to even touch the mubuyu of Makadzi. Mubuyu of Makadzi. Makadzi is another thing which need a time to explain. Who is Makadzi? Because Makadzi is not a name. It's a spiritual role. And we have a Baba called Mubuyu of Makadzi. How? SEZ said they do not see those brothers valued that they can remove them for just creating a job under the name of making smart city. Rine, Bavenda, ourselves, Bavenda. I know there are the other Bavenda who can be saying that because they don't have even that knowledge which I'm sharing here. They want jobs, they don't want Braba. But go to them and explain that they detail or they come to the dialogues of Braba. They will wake up and be shocked. If we see the Baobab bulldoze, which Mupo placed them in according to that order which I have explained, what will be the consequences to the future generation? The present generation will be literally, practically, actually affected. But the future generation, if there will be some women remaining to give birth to the children who can grow and struggle with the destroyed air, the contaminated water, the barren land which does not produce, the atmosphere which they cannot even breathe well. But this future generation, knowing that the boabas have been bulldozed, the boabas has been killed, we are suffering because there was eroding the boabas. If now even one boaba to kill it, it is deeply wrong. We can't chop a boaba. I will little bit pause. I will go in after reflection of what we have seen. I'm welcoming questions. I'm welcoming any thought spiritual guide. Mubuyu Bwaba. This is the fruit of Bwaba. It took years and years for this tree to bear fruit.
Mphatheleni, thank you so much for sharing. I wasn't aware that sharing anything about Muvuyu, the baobab trees, with outsiders might be not appropriate. So I understand that this is big knowledge to be sharing, and I appreciate that the elders gave permission to share about this. It feels like it's important. And my wondering, my question would be how to get the message of the sacred role of Muvuyu in Venda landscape, mythology, hearts, the fact that Muvuyu is the ancestors. How would we get that story to other Venda people so that they do understand it from a place where they want to understand it, rather than us just telling them that that's sacred? How do we get people to embody, to experience that sanctity? And maybe there's not an answer for that now, but if you feel to answer that, I'd be very grateful. And of course, we can have other questions as well.
We know very lesser than Mupo. Mupo is the natural creations of everything. I don't know what's going on. Mupo is the natural creation of everything. People will say the universe is the natural creation of everything which is not made by human being, manufactured or designed and be in the place by human being. It's natural creations, everything. When we look at nature, it's Mupo. Because nature is created by Mupo. When we see ourselves human being, like my voice coming, it's Mupo. My hands moving like this without battery, without being connected in the wall, it's Mupo. We see the mountain, the form of it is Mupo. Mupo created the Baobabs. Mupo is everything which is not created. The moon is Mupo. The sky is Mupo. The clouds is Mupo. That sound of a river is Mupo sound. Mupo created human beings. And there was no classroom or anywhere where they said, these are the Venda people who were logging their parents in the classroom and teach them the connection to Baobabs, to the forest. It's Mupo. There's no way where the people of Venda, intelligent as they are, being going to another hall or classroom or somewhere to be taught or to choose that we want Bwaba and the way Bwaba connect and place this Bwaba in different places where I explain. It's Mupo. But Mupo continues because it's regenerative. Venda people has been cut off to the connection of Mupo, to live the life of Mupo. That's why today we have like Dzomo la Mupo, because Mupo has been suppressed. That's why even we say we are Dzomo la Mupo. We are the voice of Mupo. People of Venda who do not connect or see the value of Baba is because of the distraction which happened. And it's not only Venda, especially, I will say, the original ways of the whole world. When people have been disconnected from the original of natural that flow from their long, long ago ancestors' order has been disrupted. And we come now because we see where we are going. Collapse. To show the Venda people, because it's not there, it's not talked about. What is talked about our government, what is talked about even in our churches. It's not about Mupo. It's about human being needs for hunger and human being needs for safety. Safety of human being, but not considering the Mupo way that is human being safety is when Mupo is in the order. That's why even the government can pass laws, act, and develop a department called Department of Sanitary and of Water, or Sanitary and Forestry. There is this department which concentrates on people who have to get water, and people have to get the place where they even have the loo, the restrooms, the toilets. It's a must that a human being have to have water in the kitchen, water to drink, and even spending time to make that people must have the lavatory or the toilets. While the Mupo way is not that. Children go to do the careers, which is like a box with pieces that you choose this piece, you remove from this box, and you go and live life. While in the box is the connection of everything: agriculture, tourism, social development, all these things, which is one thing, is cut off because it's not done by Mupo. Then the people get lost because the time when these things were imposed, it was imposed by this thing which I'm saying it has disconnected people from Mupo. I will say because this is what we found: the education and the religious principles. Only when the creation of organizations or groups of people who give themselves the time like this, not even on this form way which I'm doing it, to create space of intergenerational learning and deepen that before elders went away, all of them, this knowledge get again and get in our veins to understand, because people are not disregarding the Boabas by intentionally. They don't have, because people like in South Africa, when they get this disruption that they must no longer see everything through the Mupo, they place them in the place where they don't even see the connection. Same with the children at home. They don't see that the water in the tap and in the bathroom in the kitchen is the water which is the water in the bridge which they are crossing every day to go to school. They think water is in the house. Until we see it in the classroom, that the classroom remind Mupo way education. Because we cannot say people disregard this thing while they are cut off, that they learn another education for career oriented, and only if you want to be a doctor, you only learn about this medicine which is in the bottle, and the medicine to heal one eye or if it's headache, but no Mupo connection there. For my Venda people to go back to their roots. Their heritage is not only for talking about it or academic researchers to write about it and shelf it. How does it help if somebody come now and do the academic research about the Baobab? All this indigenous knowledge about the Baobab and do the data and understand, but the end is in the book, which is going to be shelved in the library, or you open and you click and you read it here. But there's no practicality of it. Is the Mupo there? Is this functional? We need to go back like what we are doing here. I cannot know anything. I cannot know something if I'm just sitting. There is now the time reached that even a Venda people should be given opportunity to learn, to understand, to be placed, so that they understand it. Losing the Baobabs is to collapse, That's my response on that. Strong awareness, deep dialogue with young people, deep dialogue with the youth. Because when you say special economic zone is going to create 20 million jobs, they see the 20 million jobs, but they don't see the value of what they are going to lose. And they don't even want to listen to. When you say it's wrong, I think that they will get a salary to earn 10,000 rand per month. It's finished. The Baobab must go because it must not block my 10,000 rand per month, which they didn't even look beyond that. They will earn that 10,000 rand per month. Maybe 1 year or 2 years is finished. After that, you are sick because it's about collapsing all this stronghold of forest, and we are going to become sick. It's the time now to do deep awareness, not only to people who are far somewhere. Local here in Venda, there is a need to do deeper dialogue in the creating space of learning about the Baobab. And learning about the Baobab, you learn about the whole, because it's not about the Baobab to stand alone. As I said, the distance from one Baobab to another is life. And that Baobab standing there very far away from here to where the Baobabs are. It's the longest distance. More than 2 hours to go there. But I stay here, I need the Baobab. Elder need that, this sickness need the Baobab. And the Baobab of Makazi, and that biggest Baobab, which is more than 1,000 years old, that oldest one. It has the sacredness of spirituality to hold Venda, Limpopo, South Africa, the world, the ocean, to be alive.
Sure. And that is exactly what you do with Dzomo la Mupo, creating those intergenerational dialogues. How could people contact Dzomo la Mupo and support you in the mission that you currently have, which is exactly what you've described that is needed, that the youth have access to the indigenous knowledge before they're completely cut off from that embodied experience forever?
Yes. Dzomo la Mupo, we highly need the support to do the gatherings, to do for this awareness. And it's a very highest need, because the Musina Makado Special Economic Zone is the edge of reaching collapse of Venda, the biosphere area, the home of the highest biodiversity places. And before the special economic zone, as many as we were struggling to say sacred places should remain as sacred places. But now, because of a special economic zone, we see that the whole Vhembe district has to know what is happening and go to corner that people sit in dialogue and revive this understanding to make it practical, that it's a reality. It's a reality that there is no guarantee of the well-being or the future if the SEZ happen and if the Boabas are going to be bulldozed. The support we need, we are around Dzomo la Mupo. We have our website, which is Dzomo la Mupo. I am around. And in the website of TH the Dzomo la Mupo, even though our website is not that fancy one, it's a storytelling of long sentences. But there is the place where you can see how to reach out to Dzomo la Mupo. Even reaching me, even reaching the chairperson, even reaching the other coordinators. But we are not working alone as Dzomo la Mupo. We have Wildlaw Institute, we have the Earth Life Africa, which is the one which we are doing a deeper campaign. That's how we can be contacted to do this awareness. We really have to do awareness, because it will not help to just talk about Boaba in this webinar or somewhere on the online while the vendor are collapsing, while they're not knowing that they are collapsing. The one who is easily reached out is my sister Linda Tucker. That's how we can be connected. We really high big awareness by highest voice here in Vhembe, here in Venda, and stretching out to Limpopo about we lose these Baobabs. We are sitting on the collapse of the system of life, not the system, the collapse of human being, the system of life. That's how we can be assisted as Dzomo la Mupo.
Thank you, Mphatheleni. So I will put the links of Earth Life Africa, Wildlaw Institute, Linda Tucker's Global White Line, as well as All Rise, because this comes full circle. All Rise are the ones who are protecting the baobabs legally, and without that legal capacity to go forward, the development cannot go. So by donating to All Rise specifically, you are protecting directly those baobabs, Muvuyu, and you are protecting Venda way of life, mythology, indigenous knowledge. That is one of the key ways to protect Venda. So
and
I want to carry on.
I have left something in between. That's why there is a highly need for deep awareness. Come now to Venda looking for a Boaba, a small Boaba. I have a few of them in that other room. Come now looking for it's a medicine. It's a very important medicine, not a medicine to label it and put it in the market and sell it. Even me, I use the fruit Boaba for some of my cramps. It's not that I have to go somewhere to look. We always have Boaba in the house. But now, when you go to look for a Boaba, you don't find it. You will find a Boaba like this. But when you cut it, it's not good. It's rotten inside. But I have a Boaba which is very old. I think this Boaba, I got it in 1998. But I was having lots of them. I was eating them until I finished them last year. They're still pure white. But especially from 2023, 2024, last year. You go to the Baobabs, you cut, you find that it's black, but it was ripe the same year. Because what I left, people are commercializing the Baobab's fruit because of this economic or the money. Guava, you don't pick it on the tree. I learned from the elders. Guava drop down when it is ripe and it fall down. But when the guava is becoming like, people are shaking them to come to fall and put on the van and sell, because there are people who are selling the guava powder and making the guava oil and saying that the guava is medicinal, and it's causing the Venda people to chop down the guavas before they get ripe. There are many bags of guava if you go to these places where I said there is guava. People are making them to fall because they want just 300 rand, because the van costs 300 rand or 400 rand or 500 rand. That's it. I sell the guavas. The guava has been disrupted, the Mupo way of growing and becoming ripe. We don't have guava. Like now, I have to travel a distance of 50 kilometers. I think I will go on Saturday, even tomorrow if I got time, because I need them. It's our indigenous street and not street, because I always know that if I have some crimes, I know there is a Baba seat which I lose essence. But I have the Babas in the house. They are rotten. People have been made to make the Babas to fall because they have to sell to people who are taking Babas that they are going to make oil or to package the powder of Baba. We don't package powder Baba and sell it. It's still there as a way of life. That's why it's regenerative, that you find it flowing. Even far distance people, they know that they have Baba is medicine for the very sacredness, and for babies when they are newborn. There are babies who need that waba. Many sicknesses. But the economy is about human need. There's no way that the bags of waba should be collected. Wabas rot there under the waba, because it's not us human beings who eat waba alone. Mupo created things, many lives, to depend on that waba. But waba do no longer get ripe and fall down and we go and pick lickly and go. They are collected to the van, collected, and we sell. They are selling. On the road is waba, but you buy them. They are black because they are not yet ripe. This is what the Venda people should know, because while the other people want to chop trees, even the other baba will no longer develop the seed, because when an old baba got rot, it will make another baba to grow. We will lose even the seed of baba, because the seed of babas are going away. 100 years to come, which means there will be no longer babas.
There's so much that I could respond to this, and I think that this is something that has been seen around the world. All over, indigenous ways of life and resources are being affected. Many people use, for example, Palo Santo wood to burn, to smudge as their form of incense. But it's the same as with the baobab. It shouldn't be picked when it's living on the tree. It can only be harvested when the tree has died, with the Palo Santo wood in Brazil, in the rainforest, in the Amazon. So it's quite similar. As the demand increases, that's what happens with indigenous ways of life all around the world. So there is a very, very urgent need for the transfer of this knowledge and to find different ways of living that are more enriching.
In my closing, this is the time in which take us back to we didn't choose, we are chosen. There is a need. Huna ṱhoḓea in our language. Huna ṱhoḓea. There is a need for all over the world. The voices who are standing for environmental justice. We lose the forest. There is a collapse which will be unreplaceable. Huna ṱhoḓea. There is a need. As Dzomo la Mupo, to reach to the understanding that is a collapse which will be unreplaceable. The Mupani, the Boaba, the Marula are highly sacred. These are the livelihoods of well-being, not livelihoods of eating them to the stomach. They are highly spiritual. Musina Makato, special economic need to finally understand is a collapse without detailing about it, but is to collapse Venda district, is to collapse Limpopo, is to collapse South Africa, is to collapse Africa, is to collapse the world. Musina Makado Special Economic Zone is the last thing which is cruel to the life system more than all, even colonization, apartheid, displacing people is a sin. Is wrong. I will raise my voice. Is to do what people say is evil. We have never seen in the eyes the evil did. Now by Messina Makado, we are seeing the special evil did by eyes. Musina Makado Special Economic Zone is wrong. It's the hugest collapse which will be remembered in the dreams, in the ancestor spirit. The cause of the collapse. How can we're coming everywhere, even though we have not seen it, that is a media or is the public participation, a presentation is what? When they said eroding hundreds of Boabas and a distance from one Baba to another is the life systems. When eroding those 100 Boabas, even 10 or 2 Boabas, Musina Makado Special Economic Zone is wrong. Can we all over the world reach an understanding that people who are designing or planning Musina Makado Special Economic Zone to reach an understanding of the collapse which they are causing is wrong? Ah.
You could not have said it more clearly. That was powerful. That was very, very powerful. Thank you, Mphatheleni.
And a huge thank you to both of you, to Mphatheleni and also Saskia for that meditation. And generally, it was a question that came up a lot as you were speaking, Mphatheleni. But it's, what alliances can be made, because I understand that there is a big part of the world is this disconnection from realizing the sacredness of everything that you talk about, but I also know that there would be a huge number of people that could resonate very strongly, and it just felt like, okay, there needs to be like a outreach like crazy to really become allies with this cause. That was, I guess it's not a direct question in particular, but if you feel to speak to it.
Mphatheleni, did you hear what Misha was sharing?
Not well the last.
What I think he was alluding to is what alliances could be made to spread the word of the work that you are doing and what is necessary to stop this destruction right now. And if you would like to share, I mean, we have already you've touched a little bit on it with Wildlaw Institute, with Earth Life Africa, with the Global Wildlife Protection Trust, with All Rise. We've shared some of that. And I think what Misha is seeing is a much bigger awareness growing, where it spreads very rapidly and it reaches many more people. So this is something that we could carry as a question for ourselves. I know I already have some ideas going forward. If there's anything you would like to share further, Mphatheleni, on that, any response, you're welcome to share.
Even though we are having young people who are starting to realize the reality of life, my understanding on the alliance is that initiatives to come with people like you, the young people. We have many young people here in Venda who are struggling. But they see that if they get a job or employment, it can settle them. But at the end, even they have their PhD, they still come back. Like here in Dzomo la Mupo, they are coming back. That they are not getting satisfaction. But in my understanding, alliance on top of what we say, we need people like you to come with your voices as an alliance of young people. And not just learning for writing and understanding it. To be the youth, as other people say, youth as community of practice, community of living this alive. I think the voice of the people like you, young people, in this is a strongest, strengthened alliance. We need the voices of young people.
Thank you, Mphatheleni. And what comes to mind is the Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature, who have youth hubs around the world. And that could be something, Misha, that could interest you as one of the alliances and helping to draw, for example, GAN, the Global Alliance for the Rights of Nature, and the youth hubs there, and bringing attention and interest into these kinds of issues right here. And I love Mphatheleni's question about what brings satisfaction to young people and how can that be made tangible to them. Deep satisfaction. It's a question of belonging. It's not just satisfaction of meeting perceived needs of money and job and status and material wealth, but what brings deep satisfaction, heartfelt belonging, to know that you are happy deep inside. That's the question that I hold for myself, of bringing that to the youth as the future, as the Dzomo la Mupo of all people going forward. Thank you for sharing, Misha. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the question. There is an organization called Living Limpopo, which has been founded by Lauren Liebenberg, and she presents some of the economic alternatives that would benefit the Venda people directly. Not things like what the Messina Mercado Special Economic Zone promises that would in all likelihood end up being an empty promise. What Lauren and her team have presented are real economic alternatives that are more aligned with what Mphatheleni and other people are doing for the benefit not just of the livelihoods and the economics for Venda people, but for all of life that is in Limpopo, in alignment with the rest of South Africa as well. And like Mphatheleni was saying, the rest of the world, for all of nature. So please have a look at that if it interests you in finding out more about that. And lastly, please consider donating to All Rise. They are one of the very few voices where we can legally stop the development from happening and from causing such massive destruction. So I thank you all for listening, and I am so grateful to Mphatheleni for sharing today, for taking the time out of what I know is a very busy schedule in very sacred work. And I really hope that this work continues to grow. So we'll see you all in the next call. Thank you to the Baobabs as well. Thank you to Muvuyu. Thank you to Mupo. Thank you to all of us for being here and being the ones who have been chosen, as Mphatheleni says. May we all rise. Mphatheleni says, we give thanks. See you soon.